Hey, and welcome to the Echo Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me is my classmate, Matt.
Hello.
This is a brand new podcast where we're going to be talking about all the new music coming out that maybe you don't know about, maybe you do. I'd like to take a second, since it's our first episode, to talk about maybe some of our favorite bands. So, Matt?
I listen to Aries, listen to a little bit of Future, some Metro, a little bit of Don Toliver. I have like a pretty niche sound, but there's a lot of artists within that kind of sound that I like. Not niche sound, but like a very specific sound that I like. And I think everything within that kind of falls out I can listen to. So,
yeah, we were listening to some Aries before shooting, and yeah, I can definitely tell because we were talking about Lucas Graham and 7 Years, and you definitely, like, there's definitely a genre that I feel like most people fall into, and you have your own style and taste, and that's really respectable. I grew up with bands like the Beastie Boys and Bob Marley and things like that, but nowadays I'm more into like Tyler the Creator and just really out there bands, anything that's trying to get out there, like Death Grips.
I see.
But for today's episode, we're going to be talking about a great band called Feeble Little Horse and their album Girl with Fish. So the original members of with Feeble Little Horse would be Jake Kelly, Sebastian Kinsler, and Ryan Walchowski. They met at Pittsburgh University in 2021. They were all studying, and they ended up as just a side project getting together an EP called Modern Tourism that released in February of that year. Modern Tourism ended up being kind of I wouldn't say huge sensation, but definitely some sort of a sensation online that led them to adding another bandmate, Lydia Slocum, their female lyricist and now bassist to the band, for their first album, Heyday. Right when society was starting to get back out after COVID, the band went to go tour in their hometown of Pittsburgh, and they used the hometown as an experimenting ground to really hone their craft and really just work on getting their sound right. And from there, they'd go on playing a lot of other shows, eventually winding up in Brooklyn, where a representative from Saddle Creek Records spotted them, and that gave the band their most interesting question yet. Are they going to become a studio label band? And most bands, that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
You want the label. They never really intended on signing with anybody. It was just a fun side thing for them to do. And at the time, Ryan Walchowski, their bassist, had just graduated and was in Washington.
I think it's a trend now where bands and artists, musicians aren't going towards labels because they're able to kind of market themselves with social media and that kind of stuff, especially as of recent. Like it's a lot more common now than it would have been 15, 20 years ago, from what I can tell, to stay independent.
Yeah, for sure. And also just a lot more opportunities these days outside of the studio system in every field of art.
Mm-hmm.
But then the deciding factor on them signing this studio deal was Lydia. Before she even joined the band, she'd always joked growing up about becoming a pop star. And her father had always told her that she needs to go find a band so that she can finally get all these analogies out and finally go rage at her boyfriend.
That's funny. She spoke it into existence.
Legit. And she strapped her boots on. She put stickers on the Ryan's old bass where her fingers needed to go, and she learned how to play the songs. So really respectable for that. And when they signed, they ended up re-releasing their first album, Heyday, under the label. And it'd be another year and a half until their next album, Girl with Fish, subject of today's video, finally came out. Girl with Fish has a lot of interesting things to it because Lydia, as a lyricist, she's very extreme with her topics and how she decides to compare things. Like in the song we're going to be listening to, Tin Man, I mean, she tears that guy apart. I hope I never meet that guy. He doesn't sound too nice.
Imagine she's like a completely normal guy. She's just like, just absolutely decimating him for.
But the album is really short at only 26 minutes, 11 tracks, which means that you can listen to it, under half an hour.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I think it packs a punch in every song. It doesn't stay too long. And it really does its job in trying to not only entertain, but kind of bring you into this headspace. They're shoegaze. Do you know what shoegaze is?
I have no idea.
So, the pedals for guitars and stuff with the different effects that they can push.
Nope.
So you can plug in these effects into an amp and your guitar that will distort the sound of the sound waves.
Okay.
And these bands in the late 80s, mostly from the UK, later on like My Bloody Valentine and things like that, They got the name shoegaze because they spent the entire concert looking down at their shoes, switching the pedals for the effects.
That makes sense. So they're like playing the guitar and with their feet at the same time.
So before going into this album, we are looking into a kind of a more psychedelic, experimental piece compared to your usual pop fare. But yeah, I'd like to actually go ahead and introduce our first song, Freak, and see what our reviews are of it.
Can't wait.
I know you want me freak, sports star honeybee on my team. I wanna play nicely, I can pick it up if you take the lead. I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak. I can look you in the eye and cheer for you 'cause I'm on your side. How can you be satisfied? She's 5'1" and you're 6'5". Maybe you're not my type, but you can score when it's overtime. I know you want me freak, sports star honeybee on my team. I wanna play nicely, I can pick it up if you take the lead. I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak, I know you want me freak.
You have just experienced Freak by Feeble Little Horse. What is your review?
Sounds like it's like very scratchy. Like the sounds in the song were very like, nothing was polished, which is kind of cool. And there's also like the vocals were so mellow compared to like the drums and the bass, like all the other guitar and all that was very like intense. And she was just like, it's like just having a normal conversation with whoever was she could be talking to, which it's like a very interesting, very hard to digest.
Very messy, but in a way that feels on purpose, obviously.
Yeah.
And Lydia's lyrics about this football star that doesn't seem to notice her compared to this 5'1" chick, a little heightist, gotta say. It reminds me a lot of when I was younger and like my juvenile crushes and not really understanding if somebody doesn't like you back, like it's not necessarily anger, but it's more so just like a frustration that's inside you. Like,
like helplessness.
I'm right here. I'm so cool. I'm so awesome. And it's very juvenile because it's like, of course you think that of yourself. You got to go through your ego death first, obviously. But yeah, also just like, it's very, reminds me of just juvenile punk passion. Just going out there and getting it done like a garage band.
Yeah, it does give off like rocking in my garage at 11 p.m. on a Friday. Like if I was a garage band concert, I think that would be what that would definitely be the sound I'd expect from it.
I actually, when I first was exposed to this band, it was at a live show, and it basically was like a basement show. It was in the back of a bar. 5 bands played. They were the 3rd or 4th band of the night. And at that point in the night, I was a little sick of it because it was a bunch of male vocalists with heavy drums and guitars so that you could not hear the lyrics at all. And finally, this band comes up, Feeble Little Horse, and I get a little excited because there's a female vocalist. But at the same time, I'm like, not going to be able to hear them. The drums, it's going to get washed out in here. But surprisingly, they're a really competent band when it comes to live performances. They know how to balance the volume of everything, and it was one of the more enjoyable shows of that night.
Maybe it was whoever's managing the sound at the venue too.
Yeah.
Screwing the other bands over, like, yeah, I don't want to hear this guy.
Yeah, it was a very common problem at small shows back then, or when I used to go to them back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really nice when you meet a band that like, it feels like, yes, on the surface they might not look like they know what they're doing, but they are much more capable than you realize. But I'm gonna use that to transition into our second song, Tin Man. So Hit it.
Me eyes, pouting like a dog, side to side. Watch me all day long. I gotta go 'cause you flash sadness. I found you arrested me. Took an apart and I found your body. But when I took you right in the past. All your words are shiny stolen things. Tin Man hurts, so I shine him clean. I gotta go 'cause you flash sadness. I found you arrested and leaky. Taken apart and I found your body. But when I got you right in the purse.
There was this one sound in the song that kept reminding you know, like the broken tornado siren audio. Okay, I'll play it. No, it's hold on.
Okay. Where was that in the song?
It just sounded like it was in the song. I was listening to it and I was like, it just sounds like a broken tornado siren, but in like a muddy and it's not like a bad way. It just reminded me of it. Like I don't know.
Fair. That
It was like a very muddy, like kind of like it played like it was kind of towards the middle of the end of the song. Like
Can we get a playback?
Yeah, can we get a little bit of playback on that? I gotta see if I'm schizophrenic. It's like middle end of the song.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, with this guitar distortion.
Yeah.
Like the,
Yeah, that's where it was. We're good on the playback. We're good on the playback. But that's where it was like, this sounds like a broken tornado siren.
I mean, that would fit with the beginning because at the beginning with all the
Yeah.
chimes and bells, I was thinking like wind chimes and was wondering what they were using to get all those different noises.
Maybe they used a tornado siren.
That would be amazing. I mean, we can only hope. But yeah, but what would you give that song out of 10? Did you enjoy this one more than the last one?
I like the first one more.
First one more?
I think the first one was a little more like, I don't describe it, but it was just a little more like punchy in my opinion. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this song is a lot, I feel, bluer in its
Yeah.
themes and tone because whereas the first one,
Yeah, this
you're
one-
looking at unrequited love. This one, you're
Yeah.
more so looking at manipulation,
Yeah.
at least from
This-
what I read.
sound of this one was very muddy and kind of muted, just in terms of like the instrumental. So I like it when they're like very like boom in your face, like kind of loud, but not like too much. If that makes sense. So
Yeah, that and also I wanted to bring up a couple of lines here. One of which being the all his words are shiny stolen things, which I really enjoy that line just because if you go to the F.I.R.S.T Institute, you probably know a few females who spread the word men have no original thoughts, things like that. And it's a very man-hating song, which I like it for, which is a weird thing to say as a guy. But all the things where it's like this guy is emotionless, he's full of nothing, he just wants to. I'm like, yeah, get at him. Let's hate on this
Yeah.
dude. It feels like it's very cathartic.
they're jumping this dude.
Yeah. You're heartless.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can, let's move on to our third song of the night, Paces.
It's nighttime.
Yes. I've decided. Exterior or interior night.
Cut off corner of the clock. Devils in the details. Faces in 22. Slow ride, buried in the park. Name is on the pavement. Make space for something new. I'm hooked on my loop. Faces in 22. I've made up a game that said I win or lose. Right off corner of my top. Pulling by the boss, sexiest thing. Mark out every little block, line 'em up in segments. Lucky it sticks to me. I'm hooked on my loop. Faces in 22. I've made up a game that's
Paces.
That one somehow got even slower than the second one.
You felt like that was slower?
I felt like it was slower.
I felt it was more like fairy pop. I was like in the
No.
middle of a field with that one.
I mean, yeah, but like the song was slower. It wasn't like the first two were like the first one was like very much like kind of just rock, very much like you'd hear it like like a garage show or like a basement show, like that kind of thing. And this one was just like frolicking in a field of flowers, and this is playing over a loudspeaker somehow, some way.
I do have to agree there. The tempo is slower, but I feel like the vibes are there to back it up to where if you're into it, you can definitely dance to this one as if it was a bit of a happier
Yeah.
song. But yeah, I agree. Tempo wise, probably Tin Man's a little faster. All I know on the backstory of this song is it has to do with degraded nostalgia, looking back and not seeing things the same way, even though they're pretty in your memory,
a-
but they aren't the same.
That's a pretty common, like, I don't want to say common, but like that's a pretty prevalent theme in today's day and age where even looking around here, like we're surrounded by these old analog recording and playback, and it's very,
Is nostalgia becoming as tropey as love songs? I don't know.
I think it might be. I think we might be there.
But after this, I'd like to say my closing remarks real quick. The band originally wanted to title the album Poop.
Why?
They did not like the songs. They thought the songs were going to be received very poorly and did not expect for anybody to really have a big fanfare for this.
So they decided to make them even less marketable with the word poop.
With the word poop.
Imagine you walk down Times Square and they're advertising their songs on a billboard, just says poop.
I'd buy that song. Personally, okay. But the reason they didn't go with it is because they figured if the album was to have any chance of success, it better have a somewhat reasonable name. So they ended up going with Girl with Fish. The band now later recounts that they regret not calling it Poop.
I would too.
Yeah, the songs, people like them. There is a fan base. People love it. And I'm now going to close up because Poop is the last fact I will give you today folks. So our final album review is 9 out of 10 and
7.5.
7.5 out of 10. So thank you for joining us on the Echo Chamber. It has been so amazing. So I'm just gonna, see you
Not
later.
a lot of echoing. Echo.
Echo.